So hi guys, welcome back. In this video we are going to look at the proper format of statement of profit and loss, and the way we are going to do it is by looking at statement of profit and loss of a real company Titan Limited, and B simultaneously preparing statement of profit and loss of our hypothetical company XYZ Limited in correct format. So without any further ado, let's start. So what I have here with me is annual report of Titan Limited, and this is for the year 23-24. So what it means is the financial year starts on 1st April 2023 and it ends on 31st March 2024. And I'm scrolling down to reach the index, and if you look, statement of profit and loss is on page 277. So let's directly jump there. So guys, this is how statement of profit and loss looks in real life, and if you want you can pause the video here and have a look at it, but don't let the technical jargons scare you. We will be going through each and every one of this heading in detail in this video. So I hope you have had a good look at it, and before we start diving into each of this heading, there are few key takeaways that I want to highlight here. First is statement of profit and loss is always a one pager document. It doesn't matter if your company is very small, having just one income source and 10 or 15 expenses, or if your company is a MNC, a conglomerate having hundreds of different income sources and lakhs of expenses. Statement of profit and loss in either case will always be a one pager document. So let me just quickly note down this takeaway here. The second key takeaway that I want to highlight is statement of profit and loss is prepared in vertical format. So what it means is that you would first write details of all your income, and below it you will write detail of all the expenses. If you recollect in the previous example, in the first format that we looked at, while it was an incorrect format, we had details of income listed, and then besides it we had listed down details of all the expenses. They were placed side by side. In the second and third incorrect format, they were placed one below other. In real life, income and expenses are in vertical format. You first write detail of all your income, below it you will have detail of all your expenses, and not side by side. So that's the second takeaway here. Statement of profit and loss is vertically prepared. And last and the third takeaway that I want to highlight here is you also present figures for the previous year just for comparison purpose. What it means is, let's say I come to you and say that Titan made a profit of 100 crore this year. Alternatively, let's say I come to you and say Titan made a profit of 100 crore this year, but previous year its profit was 50 crore. The second statement is a bit more enlightening because now you can have a look at trend at where Titan is going. So you always present previous year's figures as well for comparison. So this is Titan's statement of profit and loss for the year ended 31st March 2024, which is what has been presented here. And besides it, we have previous year's figure for comparison. So this is the third takeaway that I want to note here. So guys, before we dive into each of the heading in statement of profit and loss, these are just the key three takeaways that I want to highlight here. Statement of profit and loss will always be a one-pager document. It is prepared in a vertical format, and you also provide previous year's figures for comparison. Now, without any further ado, let's start looking at each of these headings. Now, in real format of statement of profit and loss, the first line item will always be revenue from operation. Now, what does revenue from operation mean? It means आपका जो भी मेन बिजनेस धंधा है उससे आप जो पैसा अर्न कर रहे हो वो यहाँ पर आएगा. We are looking at Titan. For Titan, it would be sale of watches, sale of jewelry, because they have a brand called Tanishq. They also have a brand called iPlus through which they sell eye care products. So that will also be revenue from operation. Titan also sells accessories like wallets, belt, fragrances. So those sale proceeds will also come here. If we are talking about TCS, they do provide consulting services. So for them, revenue from operation would be the money they made by providing consulting services. For a cement company, it would be money that they made by selling cement. For our hypothetical company XYZ Limited, it would be money that we made by selling raincoats and umbrellas. And Titan made 47,114 crore in the current year, compared to 38,000 in the previous year. So we were able to increase our sales by 9,000 crore. This is what it indicates. Now what does it note here? As I said, Titan earns money by selling various products like eye care products, jewelry, watches, accessories, etc. इसका breakup you do not provide on the face of P&L. You provide it by way of notes. Now where are these notes? These are below statement of profit and loss. But just to avoid scrolling this page up and down, what I have done here is I have opened the same report here and I have opened the notes here. So let's look at note 19 here. And if you look, well, Titan's revenue is coming from sale of product. You have watches, jewelry, eye care, but there is two distinction here: manufactured goods and traded goods. Now what does this distinction mean? Manufactured goods are those goods for which you would go out in the market, purchase raw materials, using your expertise, convert it into finished goods and sell it. Traded goods are those goods that you do not manufacture yourself, but आप डायरेक्टली फिनिश प्रोडक्ट मार्केट से लेकर आते हो और अपने ब्रांड नेम के अंदर बेच देते हो. So Titan apparently does both of it, and of course the major chunk is manufactured good, from which they have earned somewhere around 35,000 crore in revenue, and from traded good they have somewhere around 8,000 crore in revenue. So this is their sale of product, somewhere around 43,000 crore. Now besides this 43,000 crore, they have also earned a very trivial amount of money, 19 crore, from some services they provided. Now what could be these services? So for example, let's say I purchased a watch and couple of years later the battery ran out. So I go to Titan and ask them to sort of change the battery. They would take certain service charges for that as well, right? So perhaps those would be covered under income from service provided. Now besides sale of product and income from service provided, they also have made certain other some other money from some other sources, but relating to their operations. Now what are this? Indirect tax incentives. If you look here, you have support under different industrial promotion schemes. So Titan is a manufacturing company, and government provides lots of incentive to manufacturing company. So the money they received from that source is also will also be classified here. Likewise, we all know Titan sells jewelry through Tanishq, but there is nothing stopping Titan from directly selling raw diamonds or gold bullion bars. So that will come here. Here you have jewelry, and here you have just raw gold or raw diamond being sold. Lastly, other sales. So look, Titan is a manufacturing company, and whenever you have any manufacturing operation, you would also have certain scrap that is generated, which also you will sell. So these are all your other income, and when you add this 4, it comes to 4,149 crore. When you add all these three, money that you made by selling your products, by selling your services, and other operating revenue, it amounts to 47,114 crore, which is what is presented here on the face of statement of profit and loss. So the way statement of profit and loss works is, the first heading will be revenue from operations, उसके रिलेटेड एडिशनल डिटेल आप नोट में डालेंगे और यहाँ पर सिर्फ टोटल होगा. नाउ लेट्स साइमल्टेनियसली प्रिपेयर इट फॉर आवर XYZ लिमिटेड एज वेल. सो आई विल जस्ट पुल इट हियर. For us, the first heading will of course be revenue from operations, and let me just give note here. And how much would it be? It would be 9 crore, and I'll provide breakup in the first note. So let me just write here note 1, and here we go. This is our revenue from operation. And just so that we do not lose track of the items that we have translated in proper format, I'll also mark done here. Now let's move on to the next heading. Next heading is other income. What this means is any money that you made outside of your main business, that will be classified in other income. And if you look, Titan did make a very trivial amount, 510 crore, and I'm saying it trivial not because it's 510 crore, but it's trivial compared to its main source of income. And that will come here. Once again, additional details will go in form of note. So let's look at note number 20 to see what are Titan's other income. So first of all, you have miscellaneous income amounting to 68 crore. And what does miscellaneous income include? Dividend income, gain on pre-closure of lease contract. So dividend income we saw XYZ Limited also had that. Bank interest भी था XYZ Limited के पास. they Titan Limited entered into some lease contract, and perhaps the other guy or Titan, they just prematurely ended that lease. So Titan did end up saving some money on it, and that will go here. Interest income on sublease. So Titan has let it out certain assets on lease, and on it on this letting out it earns some money. So that will come interest income on sublease. This too, once again, as we discussed in video number 2, these are technical income and we will have a separate discussion about it. But the broad idea is any income besides your main income will go in other income, and usually other income is a very minor proportion of your main income. So once again, let's jump to XYZ Limited, and here we have other income. I'll put it in note number 2, and here I'll have my note 2. For us, what will be other income? This 4. And I'll add it up. It's 1 crore 30 lakh, and here you go. Now of course you guys did realize that I didn't take profit on sale of land into other income, and we will come to it. Let's just park it aside for now. And now the next heading is of course total income. So let me also have total income here, and I'll add. So our total income is 10 crore 30 lakh. Then we move on to expenses. But before we move on to expenses, I just want to highlight, for income there are always just 2 heading. आपका जो मेन बिजनेस है उससे जो इनकम आएगा दैट विल गो इन रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन. एनी अदर इनकम दैट यू अर्न विल गो इन अदर इनकम, एंड यूजुअली अदर इनकम इज क्वाइट ट्रिवियल compared to your main income. Now let's move on to expenses. The first heading in expense is cost of raw material and component consumed. Now what it means? So let's read this slowly and break it down. Cost of raw materials consumed, cost of component consumed. मतलब Titan ने, if you look on the income side, they manufactured goods, right? They manufactured watches, jewelry, eye care. ये मैन्युफैक्चर करने के लिए उनको रॉ मटेरियल खरीदना पड़ा रहेगा, उनको सर्टन कंपोनेंट खरीदने पड़े रहेंगे, इसका खर्चा. सो द वे यू रीड इट इज Titan sold goods worth 34,837 crore. इसके रिलेटेड जो उन्होंने रॉ मटेरियल खरीदा दैट अमाउंटेड टू 33,556 crore. They haven't given any note here, so they don't want to give any breakup of what the raw material they purchased. But yeah, this is raw material and components that you consumed, which you will then, using your expertise, convert into finished goods and sell. So once again, jumping into XYZ Limited, what will be cost of raw material and component consumed for us? Well, it would be this first 3: purchase of polyester, steel rod and steel handle. So let's just write, let's just have our note here. This will be note 3, and I'll add it up, 4 crore 50 lakh. So there you go, this is another head. Now what is purchase of stock in trade? So guys, there is this minor technical difference here. If you look at Titan, Titan did both. It manufactured certain goods and sold it, और इसके लिए भी तो उसको खर्चा लगेगा, राइट, रॉ मटेरियल का. At the same time, without manufacturing as well, it purchased certain finished goods directly from the market and sold it. इसका भी तो उसको खर्चा लगेगा, राइट. इसके खर्चे को we call it purchase of stock in trade. Manufactured goods के खर्चे को we call it cost of raw materials consumed. So the way you identify it is, if you purchase some raw material from the market, that is cost of raw material consumed. You sell it, and that is a manufactured good. Alternatively, you can buy a ready-made product from the market, which is purchase of stock in trade, and you can directly sell it without any further processing, and that is traded good. Now, what it means is that Titan Limited sold traded goods worth 8,109 crore, और उसका purchase price था 5,500 crore. For XYZ Limited, we never traded, right? We always had manufacturing operations. हम raincoat umbrella बनाते थे. So for us, purchase of stock in trade would be nil. Now let's move on to the next head: changes in inventory of finished goods, stock in trade and work in progress. Guys, this is a technical income, technical expenses, so let's not discuss this in this lecture, park it aside. But once again, you have understood two major expense head, and if you look, total expense 43,000 crore का है, उसके सामने 2,000 crore is a quite trivial amount. But yeah, we will discuss it separately. Let's move on to the next expense, employee benefit expense. वो एक्सपेंस जो आप एम्प्लॉय के बेनिफिट के लिए यूज़ कर रहे हो, दैट विल बी एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट एक्सपेंस, एंड फॉर टाइटन दैट इज 1500 crore. Let's look at note number 22 to see its breakup. So salaries, wages, bonus, essentially the remuneration that you are paying to your workers, contribution to provident fund, gratuity and all other things that you pay to your worker, staff welfare expenses. So if you look, we as XYZ Limited took our staff out on picnic, offsite or celebrated their birthday. All this would be staff welfare expenses. And lastly, some stock options that Titan gave. So let's translate it for XYZ Limited. So here I would have employee benefit expenses. Let's have note 4 here and note 4. I'll tag this since we have already translated them in proper format. We will have this. So I can actually club them into staff welfare expenses, birthday and offsite, but it's okay. Let's show it separately. It's anyways note, so we can show them separately. I'll add it. It's 3 crore 75 lakh. So these are our employee benefit expenses, and I'll tag this as done. Now let's move at the next head. Finance cost. What does finance cost mean? Well, let me give you an analogy. A lot of us are taking loans to fund our MBA studies. इसके ऊपर we will have to pay interest. Likewise, business will also have borrowings on which it will have to pay interest. The interest expense that you pay goes under finance cost. Titan paid approximately 480 crore in interest, and the additional details are provided in note number 23. So let's look at it. So we have interest expense on borrowings. Titan borrowed some funds. Gold on loan. So Titan, as you know, sells jewelry. So उसके लिए उसने gold purchase किया रहेगा और ये loan पे purchase किया रहेगा, on which it paid interest. Nothing others is zero, and lease liability. Titan would have taken some assets on lease. उसके ऊपर भी तो उसको charges पे करना पड़ेगा. That are known as interest on lease liabilities, and that also goes here. So we have finance cost 480 crore. Coming back to XYZ Limited, if you look, we did not borrow any money. So for us, finance cost is going to be zero. But yeah, businesses usually do borrow money, so you would have finance cost here. Now let's move on to the next head, depreciation and amortization. So guys, as we discussed previously, depreciation and amortization is a bit technical in nature, though easy to understand. So as of now, we won't be covering this, but yeah, the idea here is for us is where depreciation and amortization is zero, since we haven't put any values here. And what are this? We will discuss it in some other lecture. But yeah, the next head is depreciation and amortization, which amounts to 447 crore. This is the last head. All the residual expenses which do not get classified into any of the above categories do get classified here as other expenses. Titan had other expenses of 3,645 crore, and let's quickly look at what are this. So you have power and fuel, essentially your electricity expenses. You have building में repair करवा रहेगा, machine repair करवा रहेगा, advertising, selling and distribution, insurance. You have rents that you have paid, rates and taxes. So this is not your income tax or GST. These are your property tax and all those things. You will have some travel expenses. You will have legal charges. So any other expense would go, any other residual expense would be other expenses. And what would they be for us? All of this: advertising, insurance and sales commission. So let's have note 5 here. I'll write note 5 here so that we can have look at all our notes side by side. And we have sales commission. So yeah, this is 40 lakh. And guys, this is it. These are our all the expenses. Let me tag done here. I know we are yet to plot taxes and we are yet to plot profit on sale of land, but this is the format. Now here you will have, as you have in case of Titan, total expenses. and let me add it. It comes to 8 crore 65. Now you will have a line item called profit before taxes. Technically there is something I want to highlight here. This is profit. Taxes are always presented as a separate line item. So this is, you have profit before taxes, and I'll even add taxes and extraordinary item. Now what is this extraordinary item? So let's come to sale of land. Is sale of land XYZ Limited's business? No, it is not. Is it something that I recurringly keep on doing every year? No. This year XYZ Limited realized that it had some land for which it had no use and it sold it off. This is not something that we are going to keep on doing every year. So such unique peculiar items will also get shown separately. The reason is, if I just club it in other income, you would think that XYZ Limited is earning so much money. I want to highlight कि नहीं, 5 करोड़ ये बार मैंने अर्न किया है, मैं वो नेक्स्ट ईयर अर्न नहीं करूँगा. So I'll show it separately. So this is known as extraordinary item, and this is shown separately. Now you will have profit before taxes, and this will be 8 crore 6 profit before extraordinary item. Let me just get the values here. 1 crore 65 lakh. This plus profit on sale of land. This is profit before taxes, 6 crore 65 lakh. Then taxes, as we discussed, are shown as separate line item, and we discussed that there are two taxes: current corporate tax, deferred tax. Deferred tax is something quite technical in nature and we will cover it separately, but yeah. So let me write here tax expenses, current, deferred, and our current tax is of course 1 crore. We do not have any deferred tax. We had written a heading here, but we don't have any amount next to it. Current tax is 1, and of course profit on sale of land is also done. This is 0. Now we will have profit after tax. This minus tax expenses. There you go, guys. Now this is your profit for the year. So also profit after tax, or let me put it as profit for the year. So guys, this is your statement of profit and loss account in proper format. If you look, when in the previous example where we had incorrect statement of profit and loss, we arrived at exactly the same amount, which is 5 crore 65 lakh worth of profit. It's just that the format was incorrect. This is the correct format of preparing statement of profit and loss, and here as well we arrive at the same amount, which is 5 crore 65 lakh. Now if you scroll down below, there is something known as other comprehensive income. As we discussed, this is something which is quite technical in nature. We have already written it here, other comprehensive income, and this is something that we will discuss in some future lecture, because this is just an introductory session. So let's not complicate things with technical nature. And yeah, then you have your total income, and that is that. Earnings per equity share, once again something technical in nature, we can discuss it later on. But I hope you guys now get a broad idea of how a statement of profit and loss looks like, and I also hope that now you would understand 80 to 85% of any statement of profit and loss that you pick up. They will always be in the same standard format, and for additional details you can look at notes. So yeah guys, this is what today's session is about. So yeah, thank you very much.